Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie.
It's Whiskey in the Van Wednesday, and my allergies are killing me. Today we're trying a bottle that we've been walking past a lot over the last few months. Something that you've probably been walking past yourself, as it seems like it's showing up on more and more shelves all the time. And it will get some really wide distribution on this one. Elijah Craig. This is their straight rye product. Fairly new to the Elijah Craig line. Heaven Hill product, of course, and 94 proof. We bought it for about 28 bucks.
Steal.
Well, maybe.
Well, we'll find out.
There are a ton of great ryes on the market in and around this price point. Let's find out if this one lives up to the competition. Well, let's get to the nose on this one.
I get some mint. I get some dill in there. A lot of sweetness on this one.
Yeah, little lemon zest maybe. This is honestly one of the more bourbon-like ryes on the market based on our semi-limited experience with it. We haven't been drinking this one too much, but we do know that this is a barley rye, which means that the mash bill is somewhere in the neighborhood of 51% rye, just barely enough to call it a rye whiskey. So this one has a lot in common with the Elijah Craig small batch, which is a fairly high rye recipe for their bourbon. So the notes are fairly typical for a rye. Should we go for a sip?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. It's minty.
It's minty. It's butterscotchy, a little bit bourbon-like.
Yeah. It's slightly spicy, but like more sweet than spicy, in my opinion.
It is an interesting balance, and this one hits my palate a little more spicy
Yeah.
than sweet. And as a rye fan, I don't dislike that. This one is interesting though because it shares so many of those notes, in my opinion, with the Elijah Craig small batch bourbon that I wonder what is sort of so special about this whiskey on the market, because a lot of the flavors that I get here are the same things I get from that bourbon. It's sweet, it's spicy, caramel, butterscotch, vanilla, even the spiciness, the cinnamon, baking spice. I get a lot of spice on Elijah Craig small batch bourbon, and I kind of feel like if you like that bourbon and you like that spice, you'll probably like this rye as well. And if you like rye and you like Elijah Craig small batch, again, this one might be a good one for you.
So I think you're right. This one drinks a little bit more bourbonish than rye. So if you're someone out there that's tried ryes and hasn't liked them in the past, this could be a good intro into ryes, actually. And that 94 proof point is kind of perfect. Like I'm getting just a nice little heat on there, not too much.
Yeah.
Pretty good for this steamy day.
It's so hot, so hot in the forest. So in my opinion, this at $28, 94 proof, reminding me so much of Elijah Craig small batch bourbon, I don't know that this is one that I'll keep on the shelf. It doesn't really hit my palate in a way that makes it feel unique enough to earn a place on the shelf. There's a finite budget, so you have to make some choices value-wise, and there are some MGP bottles out there, sourced bottles that are in the $30-ish range, 100 proof. Things like James E. Pepper and even James Oliver rye out of Portland. Some of those bottles that I think are probably a little more unique, deserve that spot on the shelf a little more, even though they're higher price point. They also have elevated proof point. Things like Old Forester rye at 100 proof. Not quite as readily available, but it seems to be in a lot of places. Wild Turkey 101 rye I would buy for the same price a full liter before I'd ever buy this again. So I think that there's such stiff competition in this range that this is probably a one and done for me, and I would use this in cocktails. I bet it would be great in a rye and ginger. And it is tasty enough. It's satisfying enough. The mouthfeel is nice, but this one doesn't hit my palate all that much. I'm one and done on this one.
And I actually kind of really like this one. And I don't know if it's the sweetness, and I'm a rye girl. Like I love my ryes, which maybe is why I like this one so much. What's interesting about this is that I'm not a huge Elijah Craig drinker. It's on our shelf always. I never grab it. Yeah, we have every variation. I never grab it. But I could see sitting down with a glass of this. So we're a little split decision on this. I do agree at that $28 price point, there is a lot of stiff competition there.
Seriously.
So maybe try it, see what you think before buying the bottle. But I kind of like it.
And for me, I will be keeping an eye out because I'm not a huge Elijah Craig small batch bourbon fan, but I am a massive Elijah Craig barrel proof bourbon fan. So I'm hoping that on the heels of this Elijah Craig rye, we're going to get a barrel proof version of it.
Ooh.
And shoot, maybe it's that much better, just like the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Bourbon is than the small batch bourbon. If it's that much better, that will be a hitter that we will definitely want on the shelf, so we will find out.
So I guess on this one, if your palate goes more towards Phil's, maybe pass, and if it goes more towards me, maybe give it a try.
I want my rye to have a ton of rye on it, and there's a little bit here, but I'm looking for something more specifically rye, whereas you're looking at this as just a really nice, enjoyable experience. There's nothing wrong with that, and I do agree. It's a nice experience. It's not a bad bottle by any means. Well, there you have it. Mixed results, mixed messages. But
what can we say?
But it was a lovely day drinking in the woods. Thanks for joining me.
No, thank you. And thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks to you for watching. Have you had Elijah Craig rye? What do you think of it? What are you buying in that $25 to $30 price range when you want a rye off the shelf that you think competes or is better than this one? Join us on Patreon for exclusive live streams, merchandise, and more. Check us out on Instagram at The Bourbon Band, and from wherever we are
to wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers.